Good evening, TC, and welcome all to our weekly podcast, Terry Curran's The Curran View, with the Idle of Hillsborough, Mr. Terry Curran. And if you're listening free to the first half on either Acast or Spotify, you can follow the links on our socials and access the full podcast via either Apple or become a Patreon, all the w's.patreon.com/SRBMedia. You can follow the podcast on Twitter at Curran View or on Facebook, The Curran View, or join our group, which is over 3,200 members strong now. So thank you very much for your support. It's greatly appreciated. How are you, mate? We didn't do one last week, so it's been 14 days.
Yeah, I'm fine. As you know, I was moving Janet.
Yeah.
In fact, I did a bit of decorating for her. I decorated the kitchen. So
you enjoy decorating too, don't you?
Not. To be honest, I don't mind it. I don't really enjoy, but I look at it and I think, well, I can do it myself, so I will do it. You know what I mean?
Mm.
I'm not a lazy person. If I can do something, I will do it.
Do you hang the paper or just paint the walls?
I don't wallpaper at all. I paint.
Yeah.
Most I paint. I do the painting and the emulsion.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, I've never hung paper. No.
You've hung a few goalkeepers out to dry and defenders in your day, TC. And I was watching that goal that you scored against Chester when you went round the goalkeeper and you were so close. You stopped the ball. You really thought about getting down on your knees and heading it over the line like you did against Derby. That was a magic moment. What magic moments have you sourced for us over the last 14 days, sir?
Well, I'll go back to that. No, I didn't think about getting down. I said to myself I was going to stop it on the line, which I did do.
Yes, you did.
I also used to tell one or two lads, but if I score today, it all depends. If I get the chance to get round the keeper, I tell them that I will get on my hands and knees, which I did do, but it got disallowed.
Yeah.
I stopped that, and my friend who was talking to me after I scored that goal, Trevor Staunton, that was against Chester. Ian Rush played in that game,
Yeah, he did, yeah.
And a guy called Peter Sutcliffe played in that game.
Blimey, not the Peter Sutcliffe.
No, not the Peter Sutcliffe, but
there is a Peter Sutcliffe story though in your book, isn't there?
Yes,
and we will leave that to your book. Yeah, guys, you can still get that book. It's available, and your new one, Give Me the Ball as well, which you're selling on your socials.
Yeah, well, the magic moment I'm going to go with, and it's a goal against England, and it's Avad's, the second goal for Germany.
Yes.
Yesterday, absolutely great goal. But again, there's been some good goals while the Premier League and the Championship's not been on in the lower leagues. But I was very impressed with that goal yesterday.
But again, Havertz hasn't had the greatest of time in front of goal for Chelsea, although he has scored some vital and crucial goals for them. He was very prolific when he was in Germany. But, sometimes it takes these foreign stars time to bed in and get used to the pace of the English game, I guess. And it is a different game slightly to the game that they play in the Bundesliga, isn't it?
Yeah, I get all that. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. It's not gone right for him, but it looks a pacey play. It does. It looks great control. The thing about us watching that, we don't see him training, we don't see what's going on, we don't see what's happening. But I was very surprised that Chelsea sold Lukaku and him and left him with no main striker at all.
Yeah.
And for me, there's no pace up front there. Still he's quick for 10, 15 yards, but you can see he's lightning quick. So, a new manager may have got better out of him. I'm not, I like Thomas Tuchel, so I'm not blaming him, but there's something amiss with him at Chelsea. You've only got to look at Mo Salah.
Yep.
At Chelsea, for some unknown reason, goes away and becomes a superstar. And,
that was under Mourinho, though, wasn't it? Mo Salah.
But
they've had players.
But what I'm trying to say is, De Bruyne is another one.
Yeah,
to come in there and don't do anything.
Yes.
Move away. Therefore, he plays what's come in. It just sometimes it just doesn't happen at a certain club.
Yes.
You know, he might go back somewhere else and then come back to England and say, well, what happened there? Sometimes it may be the club, and sometimes it just may be the manager. His philosophy doesn't suit your philosophy and how you play and how you want to play in a team.
Absolutely, TC. I've picked a couple of magic moments, and I picked one.
Yeah, I've seen
14.
Brilliant, by the way.
Yeah, Sonny's hat trick. I want to give that a mention. I mean, he scored hat trick when he come on. He wasn't having the best of times in front of goals, but in front of goal rather. But he did score 3 goals, a hat trick in his last outing in either 13 or 14 minutes. Absolutely fantastic. And a couple of sublime finishes. Vieira's goal for Arsenal against Brentford. Nice to see another Vieira playing for Arsenal. I like this kid from what I've seen of him, and he's a left-footed player. I like to watch left-footed players. I think they just show great balance and poise and composure. And a performance that I didn't particularly watch, the women's game, Everton versus Liverpool, Anfield. I've got to say, great attendance. I know that the prices aren't the same as the Premier League games involving the men, but they are paying. They're not free tickets, and they've done well. And this young girl, Jess Park, scored a fabulous goal. And I've seen little bits, cameo pieces of her performance. She looks another player on loan from Manchester City. I do like to watch. I don't like all the wokeness. I don't like all that. I like to watch it as it is and watch players express themselves. And that young girl did on Sunday night. So well done, young lady.
I didn't see any of it, so I can't commentate because I didn't see any of it. I was out Sunday. I went to a charity golf day, so I didn't see any football whatsoever on Sunday.
And I did also like Anis Mehmeti, I think that's his name, who made the goal against you guys. Another great result for Sheffield Wednesday against Wickham. Great bit of trickery and skill on the left side, pulls the ball back, and it ended up, unfortunately for Wednesday, in the back of your net. But I did like the trickery. I also love the trickery of Lewandowski's assist against Wales the other night as well. That guy, he's off another planet, similar to Haaland.
You see, the thing is, Gavin, I hear pundits, and what's played the game and all.
Yeah.
Some of them at the very highest level, and they say it's poor defending. If you get any player, what drops a shoulder, I don't give a damn who it is. You can have the best defenders in the world. If he drops that shoulder and he falls for it, it's a killer. You're out of the game because John Robertson weren't the quickest. Great player, but once he dropped that shoulder,
you're toast, aren't you?
The player's dead. The defender's dead.
Yeah.
You know, and you've got the time to go and do what you want to do. With Robbo, he only needed that half a yard to drop his shoulder. Woof! He whipped it in with pace. Brilliant. Absolutely fantastic to watch.
And again, the lovely thing about Robbo as well, I've got to say, my favourite winger in my lifetime. I love to watch Robbo play. He could go either side. He could come inside because he's right-footed and they played him on the left, but he could equally go on the outside and deliver fantastic crosses, as he did for Trevor Francis in the 1979 European Cup final.
Natural feet. Brilliant, brilliant feet he had.
Absolutely. While we're talking about international games, yes, okay, a brilliant goal or a great brace from Kai Havertz, although the second one was a big mistake from Pope. But did Gareth Southgate make the most mistakes in the 2 games that England have played over in Italy? I was amazed. Tomori won the league for AC Milan. They're playing in his backyard in the San Siro. He didn't get a start. He also didn't get he wasn't even in the squad the other night against Germany. Ivan Toney was brought into the group but didn't get a start. Ben Chilwell didn't get a start. He put Saka, a right winger. I thought when he come on, he was tremendous the other night against Germany. He played him as a left wing back. James Maddison didn't figure, and Tammy Abrams also, and Madison wasn't even called up. Tammy didn't figure, didn't get any minutes on the pitch. What's the point in playing those friendlies, bringing these players into if you ain't going to use them? I think it's a joke.
Well, regardless of what anyone says, or anyone thinks,
yeah,
I'll guarantee you, I've played the game. I know the game's changed, but it's like anything else. Life changes, cars changes, housing changes, everything changes.
Yes.
Right? But what doesn't change, a manager not liking, when I say not liking certain players, will not pick certain players for what reason, whatever reason it is. For me, it's that sometimes they pick them because the demand by the outside influence is influencing the manager, and he don't want him in there. And I saw that with Charlie George, and we Alan Hudson, we both know we Alan Hudson, we know with Tony Curran and all them certain managers, and that's what happens in football. I mean, look, I don't want to criticise Gareth Southgate because he might be a nice person, but what I write about a football manager, I look at our coaching, and I'm going to write about our coaching. I mean, what we do, we coach down either the left-hand side or the right-hand side, and a defensive formation, and then we'll do a little bit of attacking and then channel ball. Whereas when I was a kid, the Turks and the Turkish, Cyprus, all these teams were way behind us, and they knew they couldn't beat us physically, so they fetched German and Brazilian and French coaches or Spanish coaches in to learn them to keep the ball, teach them to keep the ball. And that's what they did. That's what they've done technically. We're trying to keep the ball, right? But it's going backwards and sideways and at a slow pace. So it gives people time and teams to adjust. I look at Southgate. We can also, well, is he totally inept effecting substitutions on at the right time? You look at it other night, he had no option but to fetch substitutes on because it all he got were defensive players on the pitch practically.
Yeah.
And they did change it, Mount and Saka did change it.
Yeah, they did.
I mean, I wrote and asked you to put it on that you can see that's a fearful manager fearing not to lose a game. Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen how managers work. Is Southgate good enough to win major trophies? No, he's not. That's my opinion. Not to do with him as a person. He's not up to it. He got sacked at Middlesbrough. No, he didn't take him down, but they sacked him before they went down. Whoever came in didn't save him because they got relegated. Yeah. And you know as well as I do, he hasn't got that authority with players when he goes into that dressing room that they're going to listen to him. Right? And people will say to me, "Who's the best?" When Clough walked into a dressing room, right? 98% of players, whether you want to call it fearful, respect, admiration for him, but when he walked in, they shut up and they looked at him, and whatever he told them, they practically went down that route to do it because they believed in him. I don't think players believe in Southgate. You look at players; they're playing well with certain clubs, and they look atrocious when they go there, right? And there's some of the other players choose how well they're doing at the other clubs, can't get in the team. Yeah. So, for me, is not choose how long he's been in football, choose what he's ever done in football. I thought he was a good player, by the way, mate. I didn't think he was a great player.
Yeah, he was decent.
I thought he was a good player, but I don't think he's up to it as a manager. And regardless of what other players tell me, right? What's played the game? Well, he's got into a final of a European Championship in his own backyard with a lucky draw, and against Croatia in the semi-final in a World Cup. But what they lacked was technical know-how, how to finish the game off. That's down to the management, you know. So for me, I wouldn't change it now because, you know, we're going in. When I say I wouldn't change it, if Guardiola came available and he wanted to do it,
then that's what I would do.
That I'd change tomorrow, without a question of a doubt, because I would say he doesn't need that time. But you know as well as I do, people say, well, why did he do it at Manchester City when he first come in? You know, England's not Manchester City. England's got the best English players.
Yes.
Right? Or supposedly the best English players. But he would add other players there what Southgate wouldn't pick. So that's the only way I would change it now, because what other English manager could you say could come in now and make changes that would give us hope that we could win a World Cup? I don't think we haven't got any of them. You know, as I like Potter and I like the kid up at Newcastle, but have they got that really authority? What people are going to go, wow, he's got that X factor?
No, I don't think they have. But I would sack Southgate. I would have a word with Pep and say, look, I know you got the project that's going on at Manchester City, and I know that you want to stay there for as long as you want to stay there, but we're struggling as a nation. We would like you to take England to the World Cup, win it, and then go back to Manchester City. And if you want the job, it's yours. But I understand that you don't want it on a full-time basis, but take it as a caretaker, and then let's sort out somebody that's going to take England forward after the World Cup.
That's a great shout, that, Gabby. That's a complete great shout, because the Premier League's going to break up.
Absolutely.
You know, now the other manager I would look at is Zidane. He's out of the game. He's got that respect, and he's got that authoritarianism about him to go and say, right, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to play. We're going to play with the tempo. I think he could do it.
Yeah.
But other than that, Guardiola, because I'm forgetting, but the season's closing down, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, he's going to be doing nothing. He'll be on a beach in Spain.
That's a great show.
And what did you think to the kit last night? It was almost orange, wasn't it? It was though the red kit had been put in the washing machine, put on a 60 and a 1400 spin, and the colours went running.
I tell you what, it's amazing. The old team should always have.
Yeah, of course it should.
Preference. Right? If we play in white, when England would beat them in the World Cup, we played in red.
Yeah.
I think we played in red when we were 2-0 up in, is it not Mexico? Was it Mexico?
Yeah, we did, yeah. Played in 1970 in Mexico, but it was in the city of Leon, wasn't it?
Was it?
We hadn't got beat by Germany.
We were 2-0 up, got beat 3-2.
Absolutely.
And we played in red. It's funny that, because I know Germany play in white, but we were home team. Weird.
I know.
Weird.
I don't understand it, but in this modern game of football, it's almost as though they want to sell their second kit or their third kit, and they play in that, especially if it's a live game, because more people can see the kit and then they'll go out and they'll buy it. And by the way, it is an absolute rip-off, isn't it? When you look at the price of the kits, it is unbelievable.
I do not blame the football clubs. I don't blame England for that. I blame the people for buying it.
Well, yeah.
You don't have to buy it.
No, you don't.
Buy the whites. If you're an England supporter, buy the whites strip. If you don't like the white strip, then buy the second strip. I get that.
Yeah.
But when they changing shirts just before finals, and or for next, I wouldn't do it. But for some unknown reason, they get brainwashed into doing it, don't they?
Yeah, they do. And I think that home kit that they've bought out for the World Cup, it looks more like a training top than a football top. I think it looks absolutely awful. But then again, we're old dinosaurs, and these kids like these go. Manchester City, their kit is almost like a training kit. It looks as though it's the path that these football clubs are going down. Let's have a let's have a football top that looks like a training kit and we can wear it with a pair of jeans, and it's a win-win scenario for us. Book Corner in association with myfootballbooks.com. I am doing a podcast with Andy tomorrow, so that'll be out next week, where we look at our favourite football books of the last couple of months. It's been 2 months since Andy and I have done a podcast, and going forward, looking at books that are going to be coming out in the month of October. So Andy always sends us a book, and his recommendation, which would have been last week, is The Jimmy Greaves We Knew by Mike Donovan. And on this day, which was the 19th of September, it marked 1 year of the passing of Jimmy Greaves. And this is a fantastic read. It's a different Jimmy Greaves book. It takes stories from the people that knew Jimmy, and it's put into a book by Mike Donovan. Jimmy Greaves, the greatest goal scorer of all time. And while we're talking goal scorers, 50 greatest goal scorers in the history of British football by Neil Beacom. I've just bought that book and I shall be getting my teeth into it. I love books like that that go through the decades and the greatest goal scorers of the decades, and gives a description of what they were, what they did, and how many goals that they scored. So yeah, Jimmy Greaves, what a goal scorer.
But not only was he a great goal scorer, he was a great player.
Yeah.
I would say he's the coolest finisher I've seen in the game.
Yeah.
He never, ever, ever lost his rag in front of goal. Sweated, panicked, whatever you want to call. He was just so composed.
He always, well, he did what you always say, to pace and place, and he just used to pass the ball into the back of the net, didn't he?
Yeah. If you open your body up, right, and you place it with pace on it, you're not blasting it, you're facing on it. It gives you more chance. It gives you more chance of hitting the target. And if the keeper makes a save, someone else is following up. It gives them a chance to finish off. That's why always look for pace and place.
Absolutely, and Jimmy done that 457 times in the top flight. A unbelievable amount of goals that will never be surpassed. The great Jimmy Greaves, the Jimmy Greaves we knew, by Mike Donovan. And I've recently, we've reworked, we did it some time ago, Alan Hudson, My Life, My Music, Ozzy, Hutch, and a horse named Seabiscuit. But Chris has remastered, if you like, and it has come out recently. So because of that, I'm going to have a look at two books here. One by my friend Alan Hudson, The Working Man's Ballet, introduction by John King, author of The Football Factory, and afterword by Martin Knight, biographer of George Best, Peter Osgood, and Charlie Cook. Alan Hudson, The Working Man's Ballet. He sat there, he started writing that on his 30th birthday. He started writing one or two little lines while he was out there in the great Northwest in Seattle.
Brilliant. I've not seen that book, but I bet it's an interesting book, and I'm gonna get that book. I'm definitely gonna buy that book.
It's a fabulous book. I mean, there is a biography that come out as well quite recently, and they again remastered, rejigged, republished The Working Man's Ballet. And on the front of this is a young Alan Hudson. It was the day before his debut for Chelsea, and it's in front of Battersea Power Station. It is a fantastic read. Huddy writes just as he played. You almost, when you're reading this book, feel as though you're on the pitch with him. There's some fantastic stories, and he writes on his Facebook accounts as well, just as he used to play. And a genius on the pitch, a genius off the pitch, and a very, very funny man as well. And I mean funny, ha ha. He's got a real good, dry sense of humour. And I am going to be doing another Alan Hudson's American Dream this Sunday with Alan Hudson, where we're going to be talking about the World Cup, the impending World Cup in Qatar. I think it's 54 days' time it kicks off. And Anthony Hudson, of course, is America. One of the coaches there at America and England play them on Thanksgiving Day, the 25th of November. So Alan Hudson's The Working Man's Ballet, and a title given to him, or he took the title by a phrase that his mentor and boss and second father, Tony Waddington, used to say: football is the working man's ballet, and football and music go hand in glove, and it's a fantastic read, and that's what our podcast's about: music and football, my life, my music, with the governor, Alan Hudson.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to get that book. I mean, I spoke with Alan about 8 days ago, maybe 10 days ago, via Zoom.
Yeah.
He says he's looking forward to America playing England, and he's going to be American that day. But I understand because it's his son, his son over there, and I know he has a bit of disappointment with the authorities. I think we all have a bit of problem with the authorities of England because they've never picked a manager practically that the public wanted, barring Venables. But I think they couldn't wait to get rid of him as quick as they could, in one sense. So I don't think the public are happy with him. And I wrote a little article and I asked you to post it for me. And I actually think where we ought to start is by getting rid of them and starting again from scratch.
Absolutely, TC. And I have posted it, but I can only post it on your official Facebook page. I can't post anything onto your personal one because I can't gain access to that. That's why we do have the official.
I've got another 16 days to go.
I've never known anyone being to jail.
I've never known anyone be put in Facebook jail for telling the truth like me. I can't believe it.
Yeah.
I'm not abusive. I'm not a racist. I don't swear on it.
Yeah.
Right. And I post about politics, which is about serious doctors and the lies what they're doing, and yet they're going to put you in a Facebook jail.
Absolutely. I think we're going to start calling you Fletch. Norman Stanley Fletcher. Like an episode of Porridge. TC's in jail again. And the other book that I did mention, Ozzy, The King of Stamford Bridge, Peter Osgood with Martin King and Martin Knight. A fantastic autobiography written with the great man, Peter Osgood. Some wonderful stories in there. I do tell some fantastic stories about Peter Osgood, and in the most recent My Life, My Music, there are a number of them, and we will be going out today with a tale that Mavericks tell, and we've not done much about Ian Hutchinson, and we're going to leave that one till next podcast, but it's when Alan was telling me how the King's Road consumed the players at Chelsea. And you alluded to earlier playing for England and when foreign players then come over and play for clubs. When you go and play for a team like Chelsea, that King's Road consumes you. And some of the players just couldn't live up to it and got swallowed up by Chelsea. Not so much the football club, but the lifestyle and everything that surrounded it. Absolutely.
Yeah, I suppose London could be dangerous for footballers in one sense.
Definitely, that club definitely should have had a health warning.
You've got shows there. You've got some of the most beautiful women in the world. You know, supermodels and Miss Worlds, all in and around the area. So many nightclubs, everything for you to distract you.
Well, Raquel Welch turned up the one day, didn't she, with Dickie Darling? And Peter Osgood did a piece with Raquel. I mean, Oddy always used to rib him and say, you failed on that one, Oz. But you had Raquel Welch, you had that long room, and there were so many A-list celebrities. Hutchinson, Alan says in the podcast, the story was that he rode into Stamford Bridge on a Harley. He was a teetotal family man, and within 6 months, what he said, we turned him into an alcoholic and a raving monster. But I mean, when we've done many podcasts, as you know, and that cup run when they won the Cup Winners' Cup, what he said, I think there was 4 divorces that season because they were having affairs with the British Airways. air hostesses, and I can't remember. I think it was
I'm
Britannia
not
or something.
surprised.
Yeah,
I'm not surprised. I've seen it all.
yeah, they had a lot of spirit in the sky, to be fair. But yeah, fantastic. So Book Corner in association with Andy from myfootballbooks.com. Strange but true, TC. Wolves made history by regularly fielding two clergymen in their side during the 1912-1913 season. The Reverend Kenneth Hunt at halfback and the Reverend Bill Jordan up front.
SRBMedia.